Okay, so the first thing you want to do for your organic CalMag is collect you some eggshells. We like these cage-free, brown eggs, preferably to the white bleached ones. But you need quite a bit of them. You don't need a crazy amount of them. It actually makes a lot each batch, somewhere like 64 ounces, maybe half a gallon, close to that. But anyways, here's eggshells that were used this morning. If you look down in there, they've got like protein in it still juice, nasty stuff. So all you want to do is rinse that out real good. I'm going to sit here and rinse this out. And then I'm going to set all the shells upside down to dry, just back in this bowl. I'm not going to let any water get in that bowl. This is just some coffee grounds for the compost, but you're going to put them upside down in there, let them dry out, and keep collecting them for a little bit. I use a old fertilizer bag, but you can use a nice Ziploc bag. You want, I don't know, maybe 20 to 40 shells, something like that. So that's the first step in the process. I'm going to rinse these out and set them back in here to dry. Hey there, guys. So for this, here's my eggshells, after rinsing them out in the sink well, trying to get out the extra protein and stuff that's within the shell. Doesn't have to be perfect, but they do need to be dry. So these have dried for a couple of days. I set them out like upside down on a plate or something to dry. Every morning, if I cook 6 eggs that morning, I rinse them, I set them out on a plate to dry, and then, that night they're dry and I throw them in this bag type of deal. So anyways, the next step is to crush these. So this is a Ziploc bag. I would zip it, I'd lay it on its side and just start smashing it down. You need to smash this down. You can roll a cup over it as well. Works really good. Roll something around over it. Rolling pin would work great. But inevitably, either way, whichever way you go about that, it's only going to crush so small via, those means. So I have a little food chopper here. I like the Salvation Army and Goodwill for stuff like this. It's been beneficial even for food. But so once I've crushed down my shells, I'm going to throw it into a pan, and it doesn't have to be like way on high, but you want like at least medium high. And you want to stir it pretty good, pretty much the whole time it's going. And it's just the eggshells. They're dry. They're crushed down as much as you could get them. And you want them to have like a toasty look, and they don't all need to get that, and they won't all get that. But once you have, maybe like a quarter, 25% to half of them are looking toasty, then they've gotten hot enough. We're just trying to bake off the extra stuff and make this process easier. So it does stink. I will warn you, it stinks. My wife was a little upset with me the first time I did it in the house. I saw another guy even online who uses a barbecue grill. I'm not going to go that far. I throw my fan on and go for it. Open the front door but anyways, and it's not a horrid smell. It just kind of lingers for a little while, 20 minutes or something. Leave the door open. It'll be all right. Anyways, after you toasted them like that, basically you're toasting them in here. They're going to be hot because, they retain their heat very well. So the first time I did it, I threw them in the chopper here, and this thing got super hot. I mean, so hot to where I was seriously worried about it melting. And I let them sit for maybe 5 minutes before I threw them in there. Let these sit a while, maybe a good like 10 to maybe 20 minutes, honestly. Probably about 20 minutes at least, I think the last time I did it. But and then you throw them in. Coffee grinder's fine as well, but throw them in your chopping device, grind them up to the most powder form that you can possibly get them. All right, so once you've got your eggshell powder finally ground up, what you want to do is mix one part, and you want a big, at least one of these taller is better than like short and fat. Okay. I like this one. Just a little bit of foam comes out from the reaction that's going to occur when you mix your vinegar with your eggshell, as pulverized as you can get it. But anyway, you want to mix 1 to 5 parts. So 1 part eggshell, 5 parts vinegar, and that's your choice of vinegar. You can use, any normal pure vinegar, but 1 to 5 parts. Now, when you mix this, what it's going to do, it's the same way that they identify limestone, dolomitic lime and different limes and such. They put an acid on it. They do an acid test to see if it will react, if it'll bubble a little bit, which indicates lime. So, or calcium as well, it has tons of calcium in it. So it's the same kind of thing here. You're going to do 1 part eggshell to 5 parts your choice vinegar. I think I'm using distilled white vinegar for this batch here. This is just the most recent batch. I didn't want to have to remake a whole batch to do the process video where you guys could get all of the information and start making it yourself. So here's what I made. This one's probably about a week old. So you're gonna throw your eggshell powder in there and then throw, 1 part this to 5 parts vinegar. Throw your vinegar in there. It's gonna react and it's gonna foam up, and it's a little different than like baking soda and vinegar, which would react violently. It's not like that. It just foams. It's almost like the head on a beer, you're going to get a lot of foam and it's going to be really slow, but it is going to probably make its way to the top here. It depends how much, you're making in a batch too. But for this here, that's probably, I think I said something like 64 ounces, but this probably isn't in this batch. It was kind of a smaller batch anyways, but let me see something here. This is 80 fluid ounces altogether, this jar here. So, that might be like 32 ounces, 30 ounces or something once I extract that. But anyway, enough of the gabbing. Let me get to what you're doing. So you're going to do that. It's going to react. I do it in my sink, okay? In no lid. Let it do its thing, but I stir it pretty good during the initial reaction because I want as much of the vinegar to eat out the calcium of the eggshell as rapidly, as I can. So once it's done reacting, what you want to do is, give it some time, keep stirring it, maybe over the course of half an hour, something like that. I'll stir it a few more times. I'll try to get the foam back in here because that's all good stuff. And like your most powdery eggshell will end up kind of on the top of the foam, and you'll see that. And that's what we're extracting. So I try to push it back in as best I can. You'll get little dribbles out of here. It's fine. Once it's finished reacting, and you can stir it and it's not gonna like foam back out of it again, you can tell, it'll kind of stabilize, even if it's still, you'll see like bubbles coming up from the eggshell here as it eats it, but it's minor, once it's kind of stabilized. Anyway, I give it about a half hour after that and stir it lots in between to where I know it's really not reacting anymore. Then I'll go ahead and throw my lid on, but not super tight. I'll put it on just to the point of where, I would have to crank it to close it. But then I don't do that. I just to where it can get a little bit of air. You want to store this in a dark, cool place for 3 weeks. So mark on your calendar. It sucks. It takes 3 weeks, but it's super worth it. I promise you. Wait 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, get you, a coffee filter. There's lots of ways to strain it. You can use a nice colander or, a real fine, you can even use pantyhose. My thing is pantyhose. I use it for everything in growing, but I use pantyhose, and I'll stick a leg of a pantyhose from the dollar store down in an empty jar like this and, stretch it over the sides like this. And then I can just slowly dump this through it, it'll all fill with liquid, and I can pull the pantyhose up and, kind of shake it out and stuff. But, you want all the eggshell out of it, particularly if you're going to use it in a sprayer. A lot of people foliar spray CalMag and stuff. But so once you do that and you separate it out and you keep your juice, that's the calcium, okay? So your magnesium is going to come from Epsom salt. Now it needs to be a non-scented, no special, massage therapy ones. You just want Epsom salt. So straight magnesium basically. So that's what you want to get. Now, after I strain it, and if the ones that you see me using are white, they don't look like this. The reason is because I've added equal parts Epsom salt to it. If you don't, when you strain this out, you can just throw in 1 tablespoon of this per gallon of water, whether you're going to foliar it or drench it and, soil drench it, water it with your plants. It's 1 tablespoon of this per gallon of water. Okay. Now, this isn't alive like a lot of the things that we deal with, labs and things like that. And your CalMag's not alive, So this will keep good for a long, long time just on the shelf. It will separate though. And you just give it a shake. It'll separate if you have the magnesium in there, the Epsom salt. But so if it takes 1 tablespoon of this per gallon of water, and you feed your magnesium at 1 tablespoon of Epsom salts per gallon of water, which is what most people do. You know, depends on exactly what plant you're growing, but we know what we're trying to grow here. So what I do is once that's extracted, if I have, you know, if I have 2 cups of liquid here, the liquid calcium, I add 2 cups of Epsom salt. And it takes a long time for the salt to completely break down. That's okay. Just keep shaking it and working with it. You know, you're gonna have it a long time. It doesn't take, but if you mix the two, then you put 1 tablespoon in a gallon of water as well, because it sort of super saturates. And you'll see that here in a second. Well, I'll show you a finished batch. So here's a finished batch. I just keep mine in an El Humidor bottle. I happen to prefer that tequila once in a while, but anyways, here's a finished batch of the Organic CalMag. It's beautiful when you mix the Epsom salts and you get them to dissolve. This is maybe 3 days old at the time of filming this. So normally I have a date on it. You can see it's rubbed off. I think it was the 17th. So anyways, this is what it looks like when you're done. You want to shake it up real good. It will, there is some salt on the bottom, some of the Epsom that you can't see it right now because I shook it, you know, and it's, I don't know if there even is any more, if it's separating. It looks like it's maybe starting to a little, but just shake it before you use it. Shake it super good. Throw a tablespoon of that in a gallon of water. I water with a 5-gallon bucket, so I throw five tablespoons of this when I'm trying to use some CalMag as far as drench. So there you have it. Hope that helps you guys out. Please like, subscribe, and follow.